The moment Eliza Morgan stepped into my apartment with a suitcase and her 5-year-old daughter hiding behind her legs, I knew my life would never be the same. My boss, the untouchable CEO of Morgan Enterprises, was now standing in my living room surrounded by my son's scattered toys, asking me to become her fake husband. If you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more captivating content like this. "James, I need you to be my husband," she said, her voice steady despite the desperation in her eyes. "Just for 1 year." I looked at my sleeping 7-year-old son's bedroom door, then back at her. "So, we're sharing a bed?" The silence that followed would change everything. 3 months earlier, I was just another struggling architect at Morgan Enterprises, drowning in deadlines and daycare pickup schedules. Being a single dad to Noah meant I was constantly juggling work presentations and parent-teacher conferences, client meetings and doctor's appointments. That Tuesday morning started like any other. I was rushing to drop Noah off at school before my 9 a.m. presentation when he spilled orange juice all over my portfolio sketches. By the time I arrived at the office, I was 20 minutes late, my backup files were corrupted, and my shirt was stained with both juice and what I hoped was just jelly. "Mr. Carter, Ms. Morgan is waiting," my colleague whispered as I stumbled into the conference room. Eliza Morgan stood at the head of the table, immaculate in a tailored charcoal suit, her dark hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail. At 35, she had already transformed her father's failing construction company into one of the most innovative architectural firms in the country. She was brilliant, intimidating, and notoriously private. "Nice of you to join us, Mr. Carter," she said, her voice cool. "Perhaps you'd like to present your concept for the Riverside project now?" I fumbled through my presentation with half-ruined sketches and pure desperation. When I finished, the room was silent. Eliza studied me with those penetrating green eyes. "Everyone out," she said suddenly. "Except you, Mr. Carter." My colleagues filed out, shooting me sympathetic glances. This was it. I was getting fired. Noah and I would lose our apartment. The child support from my ex-wife was inconsistent at best, and my savings wouldn't last 2 months. "Your presentation was a disaster," Eliza said once we were alone. "I know. My son. But your concept is brilliant." She tapped my juice-stained sketches. "This central courtyard design that connects all the living spaces while maintaining privacy, it's exactly what the project needs." I blinked in surprise. "Thank you. I'm promoting you to lead architect on Riverside." My mouth fell open. "Ms. Morgan, I recognize talent, Mr. Carter. Even when it comes with orange juice stains." For a moment, I thought I saw the hint of a smile. "But I need someone who can deliver consistently. Can you do that?" "Yes," I said, perhaps too eagerly. "Absolutely." "Good. Because I don't give second chances." I left her office feeling like I'd just survived a hurricane. Little did I know, the real storm was yet to come. Over the next few months, I threw myself into the Riverside project. It meant late nights and working weekends, but the opportunity was too important to waste. My mother helped with Noah when she could, but more often than not, he ended up coloring quietly in the corner of my office while I worked. That's how Eliza first met him. She walked into my office unannounced one Saturday afternoon to find Noah sprawled on my floor, surrounded by dinosaur drawings. "Mr. Carter, I needed those revisions." She stopped abruptly, staring at my son. Noah looked up with chocolate smeared on his cheek. "Are you Daddy's boss?" "I am," she said, her professional mask slipping for just a moment. "He says you're scary but smart." I wanted to disappear into the floor. "Noah." To my shock, Eliza laughed, a genuine sound I'd never heard from her before. "Your daddy's right about that." She knelt down to Noah's level. "What are you drawing?" "T-Rex fighting a helicopter," Noah explained seriously. "The helicopter has lasers." Naturally, Eliza nodded. Every helicopter should have lasers. I watched in amazement as my intimidating boss spent 10 minutes discussing the tactical advantages of laser-equipped helicopters against prehistoric predators. When she finally stood, straightening her always perfect suit, something had changed in her expression. "The revisions can wait until Monday, Mr. Carter," she said. "Take your son home." After that day, Eliza would occasionally ask about Noah. Small talk before meetings, brief questions about his school. Nothing that crossed professional boundaries, but enough that I began to see glimpses of the woman behind the CEO facade. I learned she had a daughter named Lily, though she rarely mentioned her. I gathered from office gossip that Eliza was divorced, that her ex-husband was some European businessman who had moved back overseas. But Eliza Morgan's personal life remained largely a mystery, she made sure of that. Until the night everything changed. It was nearly midnight when my phone rang. Noah had been asleep for hours, and I was working on project details at my kitchen table. "Mr. Carter." Eliza's voice was tight, controlled in a way that immediately set off alarm bells. "Ms. Morgan? Is everything okay? I need your help." 3 words I never expected to hear from her. "Can you meet me? It's important." That's how I found myself at an all-night diner at 12:30 a.m., watching Eliza Morgan slide into the booth across from me. She wore jeans and a sweater. I'd never seen her in anything but business attire, and her hair fell loose around her shoulders. She looked younger, vulnerable somehow. A little girl was sleeping against her shoulder. Lily, I presumed. She had her mother's dark hair and delicate features. "Thank you for coming," Eliza said quietly. "Of course." I waited, sensing whatever had brought us here wasn't something to rush. Eliza gently stroked her daughter's hair. "My ex-husband is trying to take Lily from me." The words hung in the air between us. "He claims I'm an unfit mother because I work too much," she continued, her voice barely above a whisper. "That Lily would be better off in Switzerland with him and his new wife, who doesn't work at all." "That's ridiculous," I said immediately. "You're a workaholic? Married to my company? Too ambitious?" Her smile was bitter. "All things my lawyers tell me a family court might hold against me. What can I do?" I asked, because somehow I knew that's why I was here. Eliza took a deep breath. "My grandfather left a trust for Lily. A significant one. But there's a condition, the money is only accessible if I'm in a stable marriage when she turns 6. She met my eyes directly. "Lily's birthday is next month." I felt my eyebrows rise. "And your ex-husband knows about this condition. He's using it as leverage. Either I sign over custody, or he'll ensure I can't access the trust by proving I'm single and unstable." Her fingers made air quotes around the word. "That's extortion. That's family law when you have enough money to manipulate it." Eliza's jaw tightened. "I've built my company from nothing. I've worked 80-hour weeks for years. Everything I've done has been to secure Lily's future, and now he's using that against me." I waited, sensing there was more. "I need a husband, Mr. Carter. On paper, at least. Someone my ex-husband's investigators will believe is genuinely part of our lives. Someone who can help me present the stable family image the courts and the trust require." The diner's fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as I processed what she was asking. "You want me to pretend to be your husband?" "For 1 year," she said quickly. "Just until the trust is secured and the custody battle is resolved. I'll compensate you generously, of course. Enough that you and Noah would be financially secure." "Why me?" I asked, genuinely confused. "Surely there are men in your social circle who—" "Because you understand," she interrupted. "You're a single parent too. You know what it's like to balance work and a child. And—" She hesitated. "Noah and Lily get along. They've met at the office a few times when my nanny was sick." I remembered those occasions, Noah chattering excitedly about his new friend who liked dinosaurs too. Most importantly, Eliza continued, I trust you. You're honest, hardworking, and you have integrity. I've watched how you are with Noah. You're a good father. Coming from Eliza Morgan, this was perhaps the highest compliment possible. What exactly would this arrangement involve? I asked carefully. You and Noah would move into my house. We'd be seen together at company events, school functions, anywhere my ex-husband's lawyers might be watching. We'd need to convince everyone the relationship is real. And after a year? An amicable separation. You'd receive a settlement that would set you and Noah up comfortably. I'd provide excellent references for any job you wanted. Or, she added, a permanent position at Morgan Enterprises with considerable advancement opportunities. I thought about Noah, about the struggle to give him everything he needed on my own. About the opportunity this presented, financial security, better schools, a more stable future. But I also thought about the complications, the lies, the inevitable questions. I need time to think, I said finally. This affects Noah too. Eliza nodded, shifting her sleeping daughter gently. I understand. But I don't have much time. As I drove home that night, my mind raced with possibilities and concerns. By morning, I'd made my decision. So, we're sharing a bed? The question hung in the air of my apartment 3 days later as Eliza stood with her suitcase, having just outlined the immediate next steps of our arrangement. For appearances, yes, she said, her professional tone firmly back in place. My house has security cameras that my ex-husband's team has hacked before. We need to be convincing at all times. I ran a hand through my hair, suddenly aware of how small my apartment must seem to someone like her. This is crazy, you know that, right? For a moment, Eliza's composed facade cracked. Do you think I would be here if I had any other choice? This is my daughter's future. The raw emotion in her voice silenced any further objections I might have had. Daddy? Noah appeared in his bedroom doorway, rubbing sleep from his eyes. Who's talking? Hey, buddy. I crossed to him, kneeling down. Remember Ms. Morgan from my work? And her daughter Lily? Noah peered around me at our visitors, his eyes widening when he spotted the little girl now awake and clutching her mother's hand. Lily likes dinosaurs, he said, as if this was the most important fact to establish. The little girl nodded solemnly. T-Rex is the best. Nah, Velociraptor is better. They hunt in packs. Just like that, the ice was broken. Within minutes, the children were sitting on our worn living room rug, comparing dinosaur knowledge while Eliza and I watched in amazement. Kids are resilient, I said quietly. More than adults, Eliza agreed, something soft in her expression as she watched her daughter laugh. That night, after we'd moved essential belongings to Eliza's house in the exclusive Hillcrest neighborhood, I found myself standing awkwardly in our bedroom. The master suite was larger than my entire apartment, with a bathroom that looked like it belonged in a luxury hotel. Your side, Eliza said briskly, pointing to the left side of the king-sized bed. I don't snore, and I get up at 5 a.m. Will that be a problem? I'm usually up by 6 with Noah, so no. An uncomfortable silence fell between us. This doesn't have to be awkward, she said finally. We're both adults. We both understand what this arrangement is and isn't. Right, I agreed, though nothing about this situation felt normal. Just two professionals entering a mutually beneficial business arrangement that happens to involve sharing a bed. To my surprise, Eliza laughed, that same genuine sound I'd heard so rarely. When you put it that way, it sounds absurd. It is absurd, I pointed out. But I understand why you're doing it. I'd do anything for Noah too. Something shifted in her expression, a recognition, perhaps, of the common ground between us despite our different worlds. Thank you, James, she said, using my first name for what might have been the first time. I know this isn't easy. That night, lying rigidly on my side of the bed with Eliza Morgan breathing softly several feet away, I wondered what I'd gotten myself into. How we would maintain this charade for a year. How I would explain to Noah why we were suddenly living in a mansion with his new friend and her mother. I had no idea then how completely this arrangement would transform all our lives, or that pretending to love Eliza Morgan would be far easier than I expected. The challenge would be remembering it wasn't real. The first test of our fake marriage came just 3 days later at a company dinner. Eliza had arranged for a leak about our relationship to spread through the office, setting the stage for our public debut. My colleagues were shocked. The Ice Queen CEO and the single dad architect seemed an unlikely match, but the narrative Eliza crafted was compelling, secret romance blossoming over late nights working on the Riverside project, a whirlwind courtship kept private until now. Remember, Eliza murmured as we entered the restaurant, her hand firmly in mine, you call me Eliza, not Miss Morgan. You touch me casually, my back, my hand. We sit close. We finish each other's sentences. I know how married people behave, I said, slightly offended. I was married before, remember? Something flashed in her eyes, curiosity, perhaps. We hadn't discussed our previous marriages much beyond the basic facts needed for our cover story. Of course, she said. I just want everything perfect. I know. I smiled to soften my words, then impulsively pressed a kiss to her temple. Relax. I've got this, honey. Eliza stiffened momentarily at the endearment, then visibly forced herself to relax as several board members approached. The secret's out, I see, said Walter Griffith, the company's CFO and Eliza's right-hand man. His eyes were sharp with suspicion. Quite the surprise, Eliza. Sometimes life surprises you, she replied smoothly, leaning into me. James certainly did. I slipped my arm around her waist, feeling the tension in her body. I was as shocked as anyone when this incredible woman agreed to have dinner with me. The rest, as they say, is a whirlwind, Eliza finished, looking up at me with what appeared to be genuine affection. She was a better actress than I'd expected. Throughout dinner, we performed our roles flawlessly. I learned that Eliza took her coffee black, preferred seafood to steak, and could discuss architectural history with impressive depth. She discovered my passion for sustainable design, my weakness for cheesy sci-fi movies, and my habit of sketching on napkins when an idea struck. By dessert, the initial skepticism from her colleagues had largely faded. We were convincing because we were learning about each other in real time, our surprise at new discoveries genuine. The real test came when Walter cornered me at the bar while Eliza was speaking with other executives. You know what you're getting into, Carter, he asked bluntly. Meaning? Eliza Morgan doesn't do relationships. In the 8 years I've known her, she's never brought a date to a company event. Never mentioned her personal life. Now suddenly she's married to an employee? He sipped his scotch. Forgive my skepticism. I met his gaze steadily. With all due respect, Mr. Griffith, perhaps you don't know her as well as you think. And you do? After what, a few months? Sometimes you just know. I shrugged, channeling the confidence of a man who had genuinely won Eliza Morgan's heart. Have you ever met someone who challenges you, fascinates you, and makes you want to be better all at once? Walter studied me, searching for deception. She's not an easy woman. The worthwhile ones rarely are. I smiled, thinking of the determined CEO who would go to such lengths for her daughter. Her strength is what I admire most. Something in my tone must have convinced him, because his expression softened slightly. Well,